The Russian Sleep Experiment. In the late 1940s, I was part of a team of Russian researchers who were tasked with keeping 5 political prisoners awake for 15 days using a gas-based stimulant. We sealed them in a chamber to carefully monitor their oxygen levels, ensuring the gas wouldn't kill them, and observed them through thick glass windows and microphones, as this was before the era of closed-circuit cameras. The chamber had basic amenities, running water, a toilet, and enough food to last for over a month, but none of us knew what awaited us. The prisoners had been told they would be freed if they complied with the experiment and refrained from sleep for 30 days. For the first 5 days, things went smoothly too smoothly. Their conversations darkened, filled with stories of their past trauma, but nothing we couldn't handle. Then, on the 5th day, something shifted. The subjects grew paranoid. They stopped talking to one another, instead whispering into the microphones and staring at us through the glass, as if they thought they could win us over by betraying each other. The gas was doing something to their minds, and we weren't prepared for what followed. 9 days in, one of them started screaming a guttural, primal scream that echoed through the chamber for 3 hours before his vocal cords gave out. But what disturbed us the most was the reaction or lack thereof from the others. They didn't even flinch. Instead, they calmly ripped apart the books we had given them, smeared the pages with their own feces, and covered the glass windows, blocking our view. The whispering stopped, the screaming stopped. Only eerie silence remained. 3 more days passed. We checked the microphones every hour, fearing they had malfunctioned, but they hadn't. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated they were still alive, even though no sound came from inside. It wasn't until the morning of the 14th day that we decided to break protocol and attempt communication through the intercom. We announced we would open the chamber door and that compliance would result in one of them being freed. We were desperate for a response, any sign of life. Then, in a calm voice, we heard a phrase that still chills me to my core. We no longer want to be freed. Despite our reservations, the chamber was flushed of gas, and we prepared to open the door. But as the fresh air rushed in, the microphones picked up frantic voices begging, pleading for the gas to be turned back on. When we opened the door, we found that 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, but what we saw inside wasn't life, not as we knew it. Chunks of the 5th subject's body were strewn about, clogging the drain in the center of the room. For inches of water covered the floor, but there was more blood than water. The 4 remaining subjects had massive chunks of muscle and skin missing from their bodies, wounds they had inflicted on themselves. Their abdominal organs had been removed and spread out around them, yet somehow they were still functioning, still digesting their own flesh. It was a nightmare none of us could have imagined, and yet the worst was still to come. Comment down below for part 2.